it right there in a nutshell. In a nutshell. Yeah, I know. It's funny, isn't it, you think? But like I say, that's brilliant, because you want things to surprise you. You don't want to go, oh, I've seen this drama before.
Yeah.
But also gallows humour is part of life, isn't it? When we're really up against it, what do? We laugh. Because it's just what... I mean, God love us all in the last few years if we haven't needed to laugh.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a very valuable survival tactic, laughter.
We mentioned in the introduction how you were well known for playing strong women. Do you think this character is a strong woman?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say I think all women are strong. I don't think there's such a thing. I think we've all got our strengths and whatnots. We're all things, aren't we? Everyone's all seasons. But the thing with this character that I found trickiest and most intriguing was that because she's been so controlled and bullied, she kind of... we don't know who she is, you know. She's a sort of translucent version of herself. And a lot of people find themselves who have been bullied. And so she's lost the sense of herself. And so for me, I just thought, how do I tackle that? How do I make her feel like a real human being and help people understand the prison that she's inside and her feeling that she's drained of her own sense of survival, as I've been talking about with comedy. But so, yes, it was, you know, I think what happens to us when we're up against it, when we've been diminished or reduced by somebody, is fascinating. Even kids in a school playground, anyone who's ever been bullied, you know, it's difficult to say no sometimes or to tell someone. It's very easy to say, why didn't she leave? Why doesn't he there? You know, but when we've been made to feel that we can't, it's a very curious place to be. So I thought that was kind of interesting, that tipping point. You know?
But, I mean, I know you've talked about Sharon Horgan's writing and that's what attracted you to this particular project. I wonder how much of that writing is revealed to you about your character before you start filming? I mean, do you know when you start how it's going to end?
With this one, I absolutely knew how.
You needed to know, yeah.
Yeah, because it is a whodunit. And also, I'm very familiar with her work over the years, as we all are. But Sharon is a writer who has a real sense of what she's creating before you start. So even if you haven't got all of the episodes, you know what's going to happen, you know the world that you're going into, you know who these people all are. She has a real clarity around that. So that's very useful, you know. It's so... yeah, I did know, and I knew all of the little...
And do you know, does it go beyond this series?
Thing with a great story, you know, it's sort of, if there are options, you could create a world in which we could move forward, or we could just stop what we're doing, it'd still be great.
You mentioned it was filmed during COVID and how challenging that was. How else did that affect how you have been working over the last couple of years? Well, for me, quite powerfully, because I predominantly work in the theatre, that's what I love so much. And I was very worried about lots of my colleagues for whom that is really their main source of income, certainly behind the scenes. And so I had lots of friends who found themselves delivering supermarket shopping and et cetera, et cetera. It was a very, very frightening time, and a lot of people have walked away from the industry as a result, which is super sad. Filming just had a different dynamic. You know, people were masked and there was distancing and testing, but that thrived because of the consumption of content. People were box setting, you know, like just binge watching things. So we needed to make more and more and more to feed that. So there's been an awful lot of filming. But yeah, theatre was very delicate. And I just recently did a play that I was supposed to do in the very first lockdown. So that was kind of extraordinary, waiting for 2 years to do that. But it's a very alive experience. It's a very specific one. I think people were super grateful to be in a room with other people who are brilliant at what they do. You know, being in a room with a musician is so different to hearing something on a speaker. You know, that communion is so profound, and breathing the same air with someone who's just so clever at what they do, even if they're a football player. Not even if, but a football player or a musician, an actor, a dancer, you know, it's just because it's what we need as human beings. You know?
On a television program. But in terms of your feeling about within the theatre industry now, does it feel as brittle as you feared it would after the pandemic when people were leaving and having to walk away, or does it feel revived?
We do feel revived. There's a real breath in the lungs of it all, but there are still some financial issues for people who are playing catch-up, of course.
And some casualties along the way.
Casualties along the way. Some buildings have closed, and that's desperately sad. but we're getting there, and audiences are coming back and loving it, and we have to take care of those audiences.